Here we are for yet another episode of Monday Night Live, your favorite weekly podcast on cricket.com. My name's Avnish Hegde. Again, choosing to wear the cap, a swanky jersey, and the men in black, as you can see, Akshay Kumaraswamy and Nikhil Popat, the ever dependable duo of MNL. Nick, I'll start with you. How's the weekend been? All well?
Yes, sir. All good. Gearing up for a very good, important season. Watching a few interesting test match. Can't say few then, but yeah, watching an interesting test match that just is about to end tomorrow. But yeah, overall, all good. Sorry for the United loss.
I knew you'd bring that in. There were a lot of people heckling me in my DMs, and understandably so. It's been a shit week for sport with my regards. But look, I've been liking what I've been watching with regards to Bangladesh, Pakistan, England, Sri Lanka. I was hoping more from Sri Lanka. Was it to be? We'll talk about lots of T20 cricket with Akshay, including the final that he went for, the Chinnaswamy on Sunday, which was the Maharaja Premier League, and that was the Mysuru Warriors. Look, we only plug in ourselves with the best, so they won the tournament. And it's only fair that we, of course, talk about them later in the show. But Akshay, that was, I'm guessing, the highlight of your week, KPL or MPL final, however you want to dub it.
Yeah, pretty much that. And of course, binge watching IC 814, something we spoke of it. Fantastic watcher, guys. Of course, no, not a paid promotion, but do check the series out for those who love, their share of thrills. But yeah, that's pretty much been it for me in terms of the weekend. We all know what we did on Friday, of course.
Friday was good. We won't, of course, hold it back. We went for like a quarterly outing. It was good to catch up with some old mates. If you guys know, you know. And we did play cricket as well. And Akshay was on fire. Yet like 7 balls, 36 runs, got so out. We'll talk about that later in the show as well. Hello to Mani Ganta and everyone else watching. You guys are brilliant if you're tuning in right now. I know it's been a start to the week for most of you all. And if you guys have had a terrible start, tell us. We'll help you kind of reflect by it with cricket and much more. Santosh Urupa, good evening, specifically to United fans. So I was one of those to heckle him in his DMs. Man, you must be over the moon with the 3 points for Arnie Slot. We'll talk about football later because this is a cricket podcast. And like I said, so much to talk about. The thumbnail suggests, in fact, that we're going to, of course, preview the Duleep Trophy. The reason why I'm sweating my backside off is because I've just done a 5km and I thought I wouldn't make it before the show, but here I am. So it's fine. Sweaty me will continue chuckling along in this podcast. But Duleep Trophy, boys, going to be starting in about 3 days' time. The format has been changed. 4 teams, India A, B, C, D. We'll show you all of it. But when I mention the competition, Nikhil, what's the first thing which comes to your mind as a cricket fan? Duleep Trophy?
Almost feels like at times an afterthought. Jumbled teams, zonal, of course, before this very imaginative team names of being A, B, C, and D. So the only good and the best part was you got to see the best play together. Sometimes not always the test regulars. This is probably the first time in a long time that I feel maybe a lot more at context because the pool is now growing. The cricket is at the stage where yes, the context here is I don't think before we had a BCCI national person coming up and saying that you need to play domestic cricket to be eligible. So that I think sets a very important context for this the Duleep Trophy season. From the past, yeah, just a few memorable knocks or events, but nothing too substantial because there's always something else happening. This is the first time in a long time everything will be about just that trophy, which is good. It gives its due time.
Indeed, it's going to be spread across 2 venues. Bangalore, of course, playing the first game. And then it's going to be beautiful Anantapur, where many people are dubbing it as our own Perth. I'll tell you more about those venues because I've done some research on it. But Akshay, again, Duleep Trophy, Vikas put out a really good video earlier that Kevin Peterson and the likes of them have participated in the competition. In fact, Sri Lanka and Zimbabwe teams from those countries, in fact, have, of course, taken part of the competition. Any particular memories which come to mind when I mentioned Duleep Trophy, or is it, again, Sachin and those kind of memories which emerge?
Nothing specific, to be honest. I do remember last year's Duleep Trophy, of course, the Karnataka lads, they were sort of wreaking havoc. It was Vidvat Kavirappa and Vasuki Kaushik. I remember the game against, was it West Zone, if I'm not wrong, because Sarfraz Khan and all were batting. It was a great fight. So that's pretty much what I remember. And of course, I was reading Ashwin's book. He also speaks about the Duleep Trophy, Rani Trophy, and his sort of experiences. That's pretty much it. Nothing in particular that sort of strikes my mind.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I normally send the Monday Night Live notification on my WhatsApp to many people. You know who gave me a thumbs up? Ravichandran Ashwin's mother. So good on you, Auntie, if you're watching the show. And I'm pretty sure you'll sync us up somehow, sometime with your son. We're real diehard fans. Trust us on that. But coming back to the Duleep Trophy, Nix and Akshay, let me just, of course, refresh your memory in terms of what we can see the next month or so, because it starts, like I said, in Bengaluru on the 5th of September, Teachers' Day, if you guys like it that way. And then it goes to Anantapur, where there are two grounds. There have been those two grounds playing a lot of Ranji cricket, listed cricket for a while right now, but it's returning there after a while, so it's good to see. Now, what I can tell you about those two grounds, boys, first and foremost, is that because of just the drought-prone area that Anandpur is, they had to work with kind of rock-solid wickets over there. So it's pretty much a mixture of clay, sand, and silt, and it's almost replicating Australian conditions, South African conditions, and that's the only sort of venue in our whole country that can actually do that. So they have 13 strips, and I'm pretty sure this Duleep Trophy, like Bharat Arun also told a media outlet recently, that this could be a good sort of dress rehearsal for the BGT. Let's see how that all progresses, but keen to see how it goes on with the teams, because like Akshay and Nick's mentioned, 4 teams. We'll show you the first one. And Nick, you can talk me through this. Team A, how good are they? Will they be the inevitable winners?
I mean, lots and lots and lots of experience there in terms of the batting lineup that you see. Some prominent names, some who are eyeing for a comeback. So I think massive game. I wouldn't say massive, but very important game for both Gill and KL, because you presume they will be starting. Mayank, again, he'll have a time to figure out that how long before he's out of the reckoning. So he'll have to ensure that he gets in enough runs under his belt, so that, so to speak. Baki, you look at the lineup. Dhruv Jaral is there again, someone who's played against England. Similarly, Akashdeep played against England, but you have to remember most of them will probably go off once the test season starts. So I think whatever time they get in, they'll want to just get into that test season very, very early. Post that, I'm very interested to see if Tanush gets a game. How does Khalil and Prasidh go? Because again, that bowling lineup, the pacers that you have, Prasidh Krishna, Akashdeep, Khalil Ahmed, Avesh Khan, that's good for you to just have a look at, okay, what do they have on offer? Because you saw what happened with Prasidh in South Africa. So how has he come back? How was Akashdeep against England? Has he added something to it? How does Khalil go with his pace? So I think a lot of personal, in terms of, I wouldn't say goals, but some very key personals there who need some game time to be part of that setup, whether it is Mayank, Prasidh, Khalil, everyone.
Yeah, I mean, interesting names there. And I think all the other teams will also resonate the same, even though many people will be subjective about certain teams. But Akshay, tell me about what catches you in Team B here, because are you back in this lot? Because I know there are a couple of your favorite players in this, maybe a couple of my favorite players as well. But jokes apart, how much are you looking forward to Team B in this Duleep Trophy?
Yeah, I mean, if it was all experience when it came to Team A, it's all about youth and exuberance when it comes to Team B. A lot of youngsters, a lot of unproven talent there. Abhimanyu Ishwaran, of course, we can't call him a youngster, but he's been there and thereabouts when it comes to the Indian team. Of course, there's Yashasvi Jaiswal, Sarfaraz Khan, Pant, Mushir Khan. Again, all of these names, all of these are players who've been doing very well at the domestic circuit. Of course, Rishabh Pant would be an outlier to that, in that he's proven himself in the Indian colours as well, but he's coming back to the longest format after the accident and the whole sort of injury forced break. So it'll be interesting to see how is he coping up when it comes to the rigors of the longest format. Nitish Kumar Reddy still unsure of if he will of whether he'll be playing the entire tournament, because of course he's also recovering from an injury. There's Washi, Jaddu, both of them. Again, in terms of how the pitch is expected to play, it is important that Jadeja acclimatizes quickly, because we spoke a couple of weeks ago, when we were talking about the BGT, that how Jadeja is arguably India's best batter right now, and how important it will be for him at number 7 to sort of, hold the batting order together. He's the bridge between the tail and, of course, the top. When it comes to bowling, those Siraj and Dayal, those are the two names I'm looking forward to. I know, of course, the usual suspects will say, "Arey, bias kya dikha diya?" But Yash Dayal has shown the potential to swing the white ball. I want to see if he can replicate that with the red ball as well, because even in the UP T20 League, he's been able to move the ball at will. And if he's able to do that, or rather show that control with the red ball as well, a left-arm pacer who can move the ball at pace, yeah, I'm all for it, man.
And that's the thing, right? The Duleep Trophy also tests your endurance and things like that. So you guys can get away with T20 games, but people like Dayal will be put under the scanner even more so in this kind of tournament. Let me tell you all about Team C then, because I feel that they do have some power-packed names there with Gaikwad leading the ship. But there's also Patidar, who I'm really keenly going to be waiting to see. Sai Sudarshan needs no introduction. There's Sky, who's subject to fitness. Then there is, of course, other youngsters who feature. I'm talking about Umran Malik, who's been kind of off the radar for a while. There's Vishak Vijayakumar, who, of course, participated in the MPL, but he'll like to make the red ball count. And other names there who generally I feel could enter the Indian periphery at some point in time. I know Mayank Markande might not have that sort of rope, even though we need leg spinners and wrist spinners in the format that is Test cricket, but only time will tell. And finally, guys, Group D, where we all will have a little bit of say, because again, people like Akshay Patel, people like Shreyas Iyer, people like Devdutt Padikkal who featured in that England series, are they going to really kick on from there? Or Harshit Rana, who of course can bat, and do we need someone like him in Australia? Only time will tell. But these are the teams roughly, and I just want to ask the boys again, A, B, C, or D in terms of predictions. Who's going to win? Jokingly. So then later, in whichever MNL it is, we can banter each other pretty much. So are you going to go for A, B, C, or D, boys?
It depends. It is difficult because 10, 12 people will go and you don't know who will be replacing them. And that is what makes it interesting. But just for the fact that I'll still stick with A because eventual experience will count. Team B is very, very tempting, but it's also very Jai Mata Di. It has Yash Dayal, Sundar, Saini, Mukesh. I don't know how to place a bet on that horse. Team C again is very, very good in terms of options. Himanshu Chauhan, you have Sandeep Polir, who's played a lot of cricket. Vaishak Vijay Kumar bhi hai. So I'll still stick with A. Baki, I'm looking forward to left-arm spinners in every team, so to speak. So Saurabh Kumar in D, you have Manas Sutar in C. B में तो potential Jadeja replacement in Sai Kishore है. So let's see how that pans out.
Yeah, talk about left-arm spinners. I actually want to see how Mushir Khan performs, because I know his brother has been in the talk of the town at the start of the year by getting his debut in Test. But again, left-arm spin, left-arm pace, those are subtleties in Test cricket that India are looking at, even in the longer lens. Before I just get to Akshay, just a couple of comments to take. And good to see people joining us from Facebook as well. So please jump on YouTube and subscribe. We're hitting 100K very, very shortly, Abhishek. But Turu goes on to say, Team A or Team B, these look the strongest, one of the two favorites. Fair to say Team C looks the weakest of them all. You'll be surprised to see how it really unravels in the tournament, Abhishek. Jadeja and Siraj not playing, saying Shubham Sharma, thanks for that update. What is the Nitish Reddy injury status? Apparently, he will be fit for one of the games in the Duleep Trophy. We're not sure whether he will start with that 5th September game or the ones on the 12th of September. It's 2 games kicking off simultaneously, saying Santosh Udupa. How silly of them to schedule it so poor when the third match is 1 week apart. There will always be some sort of wrinkles which needs ironing up, but it is what it is. They have to accommodate the international cricket calendar as well. Hi, Down Under. Why is Park shit against Bang? They competed well against Australia in Australia. We'll talk about all of that and much more, the best of the rest for sure. But just to culminate this whole Duleep Trophy chat, we want to ask you a simple question. No, not this, not the Monday Night Live question. Sorry, I've jumped the gun there. But basically, one player, and you guys can use this time in the next 1 minute in the comments to tell us you want to see shine the most in the Duleep Trophy. Akshay, Nikhil, I'm putting you on the spot here. You've said Dayal, you've said, of course, a huge bunch of names in the left-arm spin category, Nikhil. But generally, can you put your finger on one? Is it Patidar? Is it Siraj? Who is it? Looking at Australia closely.
Akshay, I'll start with one. Yeah, I'll go with Sarfraz Khan. I hope that he does well, because we know that he's done very well in the domestic circuit. But this Anantapur Stadium, which is being called as the Perth of India and all of that, it is important that he gets acclimatized to the space and bounce. I really hope. I don't know if I can say I really hope that he gets a chance in Australia, but I want him to do well there should he get a chance. बाकी अभी inexperience और ये सब के चक्कर में अगर उसे मौका ही नहीं मिलता तो अलग बात है. But given that he might be traveling, he'll most likely travel to Australia, whether he features in the starting 11 or not. I want him to have a good Duleep Trophy and some runs under his belt.
Yeah, fair call. For me, it is quite evidently and clearly Harshit Rana. Very, very tempting option to have as a red ball exploit, somebody who actually hits the deck and bowls the hard lengths that are required and at pace. I still can't forget that in dipper that he bowled. Off cutter bhi by vice up itna seam ho raha hai. So someone who I think has a very good ceiling, but again, right time, right game also is very important, which is why the pitches make it very, very interesting. Because if they are favoring pacers, that I'm very much looking forward to Harshit Rana having a great game. Because otherwise, Sai Kishore is there, but because this is more an overseas kind of a tour that's coming up, so Harshit, otherwise it would have been hands down Sai Kishore.
Yeah, I like the selection of Harshit Rana. In fact, I was going to say Harshit himself, beg your pardon, because you look at the last two big tours away to England and away to Australia, where we did really well. Australia, we won it. England, we were so close to winning it. And Shardul Thakur stands out there in terms of just being that X factor. And I'm not saying Harshit Rana is Shardul's understudy right now, but he can be that cricketer if he actually molds himself that way, with Gambhir, of course, having that extra say in the camp. So I think Harshit, I echo those thoughts with Nikhil. But like I said, so many youngsters. Your guess is as good as ours. Good to see lots of you guys saying Shreyas Iyer could be tested with the short ball. Vasantharan saying prepare good fast bowlers beyond Shami Bumrah and have good first-class experience. Guys, Siraj Jadeja and Umran pulled out of the tournament. Thank you for that update, Malkarjun. Because look, there will be last-minute pullouts, so on and so forth. But that's how it is. SS98, you joined the chat. I know you've been crazy on Twitter and our DMs, but I hope you've got what you've got with regards to all the stuff that you've won in the previous competitions. I was just going to allude to pretty much the venue of Anantapur, and it's a very interesting one because there's so many Indian pacers who are applying their trade in this Duleep Trophy. But I'll give you a quick stat, guys, and I don't know if you know this, right? So between 2004 and 2013, this place hosted 15 games, right? And can you believe that there was only one spinner on that 5-wicket Hall of Fame or honors board, if you want to call it? And it was an ex-RCB guy, left-arm spinner. Akshay, do you know who I'm talking about?
KP Appanna?
Yeah, KP Appanna.
Yeah?
Because it was him. Apparently, he did it for Karnataka in the 2006 season or something like that. But basically, Anantapur is all about spice and pace, and the black soil has been moved from, I think, Kakinada, 850 kilometers off. So there's something really special about that venue. I wish we could go do a small academy visit there at some point in time just to show you what's coming out of that area. Final thought on the Duleep Trophy then. Yeah, I think we've concluded that. We've showed you everything that we had to, and we've also given you our selections of who to watch. And good to see that Santosh Sharapa is being chatty again, saying, want to see Krishna do well in this. Should be his recall tournament. Yeah, Nick, you wanted to say something?
Just the point that the fourth pacer becomes very, very important, which is why Harshit Rana, which is why Prasidh Krishna, which is why, again, if Siraj, whoever gets injured, you have to manage the workload better. So build the battery now, because 5 tests will be taxing.
Yeah, 5 tests will be taxing, and 16 tests from now till pretty much next September. And that's a lot of cricket for India in the longest format. But they do have a great conveyor belt, and that'll be in display this time around. Right, that was the Duleep Trophy chat. There's plenty of more things to get tucked into on this MNL, including some of the leagues going mad in the world right now. And that is, in fact, the DPL, the KPL, and in fact, even the CPL too. So that features in the best of the rest. Let's bring it on. It's high time we move. Right, guys, I don't know honestly where to start. Do you want to start with the longest format of the game? Do you want to start with the shortest format of the game? Because there's so much to get into. Akshay, do you want to do eeny, meeny, miny, mo?
Anything works for me. I've been watching as much T20 cricket as possible. I'm not complaining.
So let's start there.
And I'm completely opposite of it. So good.
Let's start there. We'll do it in alphabetical order through T20s first, because there's BBL to get into, the CPL, the DPL, and then the MPL. So we'll do it in that exact order as well.
And then there's also the UP T20 League, just to close it out. There's a 5th league.
Also Kerala Premier League that started.
Kerala aaj shuru hua. There's also IPL, because updates wahan pe bhi. So Avnish, take your pick.
Oh my God. So it's pretty much 7 or 8 T20 leagues to talk about, including the women. So we'll get straight into it then. Let's start with the BBL picks, because a lot of them went to some good franchisees, and there were a couple of homecomings with regards to Ricky Ponting and Shea Hope tying up in Hobart Hurricanes. But these are some of the final results of that draft. And again, Akshay, what catches your name here? Because you're thinking about the champions in Perth Scorchers. They've got Finn Allen and Keaton Jennings, which I don't think is a T20 buy, but the BBL has seen stranger picks before. So what name here catches your eye immediately?
I mean, for me, in terms of the best pick of the draft, at least for me personally, of course, to be clear, has to be Sherfin Rutherford for Thunder. Solid buy, given the venue, given the dimensions, and given how that surface plays, and also given how much I personally rate Rutherford. He will be a great value add for them over there. They've also sort of exhausted their, season quota of buying one express pacer in Lockie Ferguson. Zaman Khan, Adam have been, previous options that they've used this time around. They've decided to go ahead with Lockie Ferguson. A very interesting buy that, but you can see why they've gone ahead with it. But Rutherford, I don't know if they're looking at Rutherford as a Billings backup or if he will start for them. And should that be the case, should he start for them, then that's a very sort of, very bankable middle order that's shaping up to be for them. Also, it'll be after 6 or 7 years, if I'm not wrong, that Alex Hales won't be donning the neon green of Sydney Thunder. So that'll be a bit of a miss for them. Apart from that, Hobart Hurricanes, those guys, people are talking about Chris Jordan, but because Shai Hope, I know, numbers suggest that he's a sort of much improved T20 batter. यार इतने सारे T20 batters यार, like Ponting, पता नहीं. Rashad Hussain also, again, same thing. I'm happy for Rashad. Like, it's good that he'll get so much experience, but he is raw यार. I'm not sure BBL पे अभी इतनी जल्दी वो कुछ कर पाएगा. But fair call by Hobart. They are sort of willing to take the bet. One very surprising move for me was Laurie Evans by Renegades. They have Josh Brown. They've got Jake Fraser-McGurk. I mean, I feel it's a bit of an overkill. And also given that Docklands में खेल दो यार, वो surface एक तो है ही नहीं जहाँ पे तुम आराम से through the line खेल सको. It's a slightly low and slow surface over there. But ठीक है, जो है, they've decided to go for it, so be it.
I'll tell you what, that Renegades team with Fraser McGurk and I think Jacob Bethel, who I think we'll see in that England-Australia series, could light it up. They could be the real next big names of cricket. Nix, because you're, of course, a keen BBL follower, what names do you like here? I know your Rashad Hussain got the nod with Hobart Hurricanes. Any other sort of names which interest you here? I mean, essentially, we're looking at, again, one or two teams who always will compete. Your Perth Scorchers. I know Brisbane Heat are the champions, the reigning champions. So do you think they've done some good business?
Yeah, mix of everything, to be very honest. Yes, Rashad was the first pick, the first name that I had in my mind. Because, I mean, previously they tried Shadab, if I'm not wrong, with Fahim Ashraf, if I'm remembering correctly. So, इससे तो better, हाँ, तो उससे तो better options ही है. All three of them, Shai, Jordan and Rashad. To me, it's very, very interesting to also see Jafar Chauhan play, the young leggy from Yorkshire, very, very young. And to have him play the BBL, I think is very, very interesting development because they have Akil Hussain only for 7 games. And I think SOK is now done. So they have Todd Murphy, Jafar Chauhan on that Sydney wicket. Should be a very good team. And again, Sydney have always been a team that you look forward to how they play. The one name that I'm looking forward to seeing is Matthew Hurst. We saw him in the 100 as well, opening with Phil Salt, and he was more than happy to take the risk. So, अगर तुमको intent चाहिए, तो I don't think Finn Allen and Matthew Hurst will be anytime below 10 in terms of how much intent they have. Because usually you don't see that with Perth, right? In terms of the options that they go for. So, very interested to see if that comes good for them. Baki to, let's see how it entirely pans out because the rest are fairly predictable. And I think Perth missed out on Laurie because of the budget issue that they have. So,
yeah, Adam just spoke about it.
Yeah. Nadeep Chaudhary, good to see you. Rush, there's a good pick. He goes on to say, boys, he's a very good spinner plus a handy lower batting prospect. We saw that in the T20 World Cup, especially as a good wrong one. And pretty much the only wrist spinner to come out of Bangladesh nowadays because they always have left arm spin and off spin and all of that stuff. Generally feel Akil Hussain is a very good pick, very handy cricketer, can bowl in the power play, decent hitter of the ball, lower down the order. He's a good addition to any T20 side if you ask me. Santosh, being chatty as ever, saying Melbourne Stars are not into cricket. Their only aim is to get as many Asian players in their franchise in the WBBL and the BBL. And Ramna Kiran saying, I'm calling this. attention, Nikhil Bhai, Shea Hope will be picked up by CSK this year. Interesting from Ramana over there.
I have
There's a
no problem. I have
yeah,
no
you
problem.
don't have any problem, right? If he does feature for a CSK. But again, BBL early picks with regards to what's going to happen, because I know the men's tournament just starts in January, but the women's tournament starts, I think, next month, end of next month, 27th of October to be specific, after the World Cup, that is. And what's gone on there with the women's side, Akshay? Smriti Mandana going to Adelaide Strikers.
Yeah, it's been very interesting. Smriti Mandana and Luke Williams will team up again. So will Jenny Shikha and Jess Jonathan. So will Meg Lanning and Deepti Sharma. Lot of sort of familiar faces. We've often seen that, captains have a say, coaches have a say in terms of whom they want to pick and all of that. So it's very interesting to see, and also it's very heartening to see so many Indians being bought at the WBBL draft. 6 of them in total, like Nikhil Bhai mentions. Shikha Pandey and Yasika Bhatia, of course, the new entrants, so to say, because Baki sab to pehle khel chuke hain. And yeah, I was about to say, and Abhishek has literally taken the words off my mouth there. Surprise, I won't say surprised as much because performances wise nahi raha hai wahan pe. But yeah, it was still a bit of a shock that way that Herman wasn't picked. And, Yastika Bhatia, the likes of Shikha Pandey, Jemmy, Dailan, Hemlata, of course, Beth Mooney also, sort of liking what she'd seen of her at the Gujarat Giants, or rather with the Gujarat Giants. So very happy there. And all in all, again, WBBL has definitely been a much better league compared to the men's side of things. So that way, all the sides look even. Stevens, what was very interesting was the first round, because I was watching it live. Brisbane Heat were just busy trying to see कौन हाथ लग सकता है. They first went for Sophie Eccleston. Sydney Sixers was like, नहीं, इस चीज पे नहीं बोलने का हम ले रहे. Next they went for Laura Wolfart. Adelaide was like, sorry boss, we are going for her. And next they went for a third player. I'm forgetting who the third player was. And again, it was retained, or rather one of the other teams picked them up. Eventually, they were able to go for Danny Wyatt, and Danny Wyatt, of course, made her way into Brisbane Heat. Very fascinating that. But all in all, solid side. Sydney Sixers, of course. भाई वो टीम क्या है, टीम नहीं, मतलब वर्ल्ड 11 बना दिया वहां पे. सोफिया क्रिस्टन, अमीरिया कर, रिलीज पेरी, अलीसा हिली, एशली गार्डनर. आर यू फ्रिकिंग किडिंग यार? कुछ तो छोड़ दो बाकी टीमों के लिए यार, क्या चल रहा है वहां पे?
Yeah, it's cricketing royalty, man. When you told me about those names, I think, and we're trying to approach, of course, certain teams to do some good content with them. Sydney Sixers is definitely on that list of ours. Quick shout out to all the people watching. 100 people of your cumulatively. Please give this a like across various platforms. Spread the word. I know sometimes it's not the best of times to listen to us right now live, but I know all you guys will do it some point in time of the week, and we appreciate it because we do talk about all the things which has gone back, and look forward to what's going to be a very crazy week. So that was the BBL. More on that when it happens. Follow cricket.com for more. There's already some great pieces and some analysis been done on the early business of the stuff. So go check that out. Let's move on in particular alphabetical order, like I said. Nearly went to DPL, but there is CPL right now. And the games are coming thick and fast. The only thing I've seen of the CPL, lads, is couple of things. Danny Morrison, good old Danny doing Danny at the toss. And this shot from Azam Khan, which was absolutely ridiculous. Like a no-look shot, leg side, and went miles. So talk to me about the games, moments, Nikhil. What your eye?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start there. Antigua and Barbuda Falcons, एक तो भाई क्या चल रहा है? पहले 3 दिनों में 3 मैच खिला लिया. And so poor is the scheduling. The knockout stage starts on the 29th of September. Antigua and Barbuda Falcons will be done with all the league stage games by the 21st. 8 दिन पहले ही खत्म. क्या चल रहा है? I know it's a caravan format, and because the games are happening in Antigua right now, it's home games and all of that. But भाई कुछ तो दिमाग लगाओ, कुछ तो सही करो. But I mean, all in all, of course, typical CPL carnival vibes, great atmosphere, मजा तो आता है देखने में matches. I've been very impressed with Mikhail Louis. Test debut किया था recently England में, but I really like what I've seen of him. Tall lad, has long levers. I see shades of Andre Klassen in him, the way he sort of accesses the leg side region, especially against spinners. बहुत सही लगा मेरे को. I want to see more of him. Of course, there's also youngster Jule Andrew, who made his debut and also scored a 50 on debut. And Nikhil Bhai's, of course, मतलब Dwayne Pretorius होता. I don't know why I said Nikhil Bhai's CSK वाला खून तो है उसमें. 16 needed of the last over, and the guy managed to score 16 off of it against Mohammad Amir, that too. So that was good for him. Nicholas Purin doing Nicholas Purin things, is whacking balls for fun. Romario Shepherd, again, not to forget, bhai, couple of his shots, he's really becoming very lethal and very strong, in terms of six hitting abilities. But all in all, yeah, I mean, it's been great fun so far.
Yeah, it's almost like the left-handers have enjoyed that tournament more than the bloody right-handers. Nicholas Purin, Evan Lewis, fuckers, the man's in the runs. I think there's Quinton de Kock over there as well. So there's and Kyle Mayers, who's I think featuring second on the runs list. So sort of usual suspects, but some great games. The first game with St. Kitts and Nevis Patriot winning by 1 wicket. I think I was watching that, just the highlights, and I was like, wow, what a way to start the tournament. The other thing which caught my eye, which is off the field, was Barbados Royals and how they had a little Instagram reel of Naveen ul Haq recounting all his Kohli memories. I don't know if you've seen that. That is absolutely hilarious. Go check it out on the Barbados Royal Instagram page. It's just Naveen being sad about Kohli memories. Imagine that. They put that up in terms of their reel. Next, coming back to the cricket in the CPL, who was your pick in terms of before the tournament started, and who are you looking to this tournament?
Yeah, not too many in terms of players because it's a tournament that I hardly get to watch at the right time. Even more so this time around because it is 4:30. But I'm still looking forward to Far, who hasn't played much, just one game so far. But was looking forward to Evan Lewis, and that is already scored 100 is very, very heartening because he's been someone who we know since 2016 has caused so much trouble that you're like, dude, this guy is really special. And my first ever biggest win in fantasy was because of Evan Lewis in the Bangladesh Premier League. So that way, always looking forward to him. Also looking forward to see if Dwayne, Sherford and these guys can become reliable people because you see them across few leagues and you feel sometimes they are just pure bowlers. And sometimes they are just those 6-ball batters. Because with the impact player and other things around as well, you just want to see if these guys can develop into something more. Rakim Conwal again had a great start in the match that happened yesterday evening. So again, all-rounders only. Baki zyada dekh nahi paaye hain, so this is what it is.
Okay, more coverage on cricket.com of the CPL. Some great stories to emerge out of that tournament as always. So keep hooked and locked. From CPL, let's move on to the DPL because I'll tell you what, this tournament has been absolutely lighting it up. Not just for that one game and Ayush Badoni's heroics. We'll talk about all of it. We've been seeing some great names who could get IPL contracts, and there's already an article of it which we'll show about it in just a bit. But before Akshay and Nick jump on all the Delhi Premier League chat, look at this in terms of just absolute madness, right? So there was a game, the South Delhi Superstars against North Delhi Strikers. What an eventful game. We saw 6 sixes in an over, thanks to a certain Priyansh Arya. And then we saw 300 being notched up, 308 for 5 to be specific in their 20 overs. We saw Ayush Badoni play probably one of the best T20 knocks in this decade of 55 ball 165, 31 maximums in the entirety of the game. And look at that for poor Manan Bharadwaj, an economy of 30 in his 2 overs. So Akshay, tell us more. And again, some of the names you've been liking a lot.
Yeah, I've been speaking about it. I've been raving about it rather, even in the last episode of MNL. And colleagues who've sort of met me in the last week or so know how much I've been talking on and on about the league. Of course, this match is an outlier that way. Manan Bharadwaj, of course, 2 over में 60 run दिए, but the 60 runs came of 10 sixes. ऐसा नहीं कि 4 था, कुछ था, 10 sixes. I feel for the lad, of course. It's not easy. मतलब क्या ही बोले वहाँ पे. But again, in terms of names, of course, yeah. Who's called Gurgaon Gilchrist? Avnish and I would definitely know a thing or two about our Gurgaon Gilchrist. Kudos to him, of course, being a sport and taking it in his stride. Lot of people, of course, now are talking about Priyansh Arya. I mean, he's been in crazy good form there. A low score of just 26. मतलब 26 उसका सबसे lowest score है, which happened in the last game. उससे पहले he scored above 45 in each of the games that he played, in each of the 7 games that he played. What's been very good about the tournament is that it's not been one of those जहाँ पे एक team has been front runners की boss मतलब strong है तो ये जीतेंगे. So for example, South Delhi defeated North Delhi. They scored 308. The reverse fixture was the next game. So South Delhi, after playing North Delhi on the 30th of August, played them again on the 1st of September, and this time around North Delhi defeated them. they made 180, 190 and they were able to defend it. Ayush Badoni wasn't playing. Priyansh Arya was captaining in his absence. Wasn't able to win the game. Just going on to show ki it's still not been a very one-sided tournament that way. A lot of interesting youngsters, yeah. Some of the talents there. I know people are talking about Priyansh Arya, but the guy who's sort of taken me or taken my breath away has to be Ankit Kumar. Again, a name I spoke about last week as well. West Delhi Lions ke liye khel rahe hain. Because the team is languishing in the bottom, not a lot of focus is being placed on him. Please do check him out. Again, a left-handed opener. He looks such a complete batter. That way, I still, I'm not sure about Priyansh Arya. I mean, I still, at the risk of sounding very rude, I still think, there are some flaws that can be very easily sort of, exploited by oppositions. Not so much the case with Ankit Kumar. He looks a very complete batter, has the range, is very good leg side, offside, reverse sweeps, down the ground, against pace, against spin. Apart from that, in terms of bowlers as well, there's Anirudh Chaudhary, there's Aman, who I've liked. So that way, very fascinated by the tournament. Of course, the women's version also starting today. But yeah, all in all, a very, very solid start for them.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, the tournament goes on to the 8th of September, so go check that out. I think there's a game going on right now where Lalit Yadav's batting, and the scorecard's actually available on cricket.com. It's not available on other websites, so cricket.com, power to us for showcasing all these kind of leagues, which has just been absolutely brilliant. I'm just going to quickly skip on and move on from the Delhi Premier League in the interest of time and talk about MPL first, or should we do the IPL? We'll do the IPL because alphabetically, of course, I comes before M. So IPL then, lads. Rohit Sharma's going to LSG, apparently. I know Zahir Khan has gone there. Will he take his old comeback?
Zahir's
there, bro. Zahir's there. Zahir's the main man to cajole Rohit. So at least Sanjay Goenka's got one piece of the puzzle, right? Get Zahir, and then Rohit will follow.
Nikhil bhai, pehle aap shuru karo. Nahi karna.
Left alone. This is not going to happen. I mean, it's only wishful thinking, as you said last week only. I don't know why they haven't still announced at least the rules for us to even say कि ये होगा कि नहीं होगा, which is bizarre, but they're only hyping it up because the longer you wait for it, the more people will watch it, the more the rumors will be allowed to spread like wildfire. So, but very happy with Zahir Khan's appointment. I think he was very good for Mumbai in terms of the time that Mumbai had their peak. In terms of squad construction, I felt Zahir played a very massive role there. And Lucknow already have the advantage of acing a one mega option. So I think in that aspect, there's a lot more already on the plate that they can just get better on from here. So interesting to see how Zahir goes there.
Yeah, Zach will join JL, and I think he'll remind him of that 2003 series where he got him out quite a few times as well. So I'm pretty sure Zach will be murmuring to him about that, but also players that they could sign. Now, Sanjeev Goenka did meet KL Rahul earlier this week, and he, of course, tried to clear the air there. I don't know what's going on there, but apparently it's now all kind of forgotten and forgiven, so to speak. But he was asked about Rohit Sharma recently in a press conference, Sanjay Goenka, and he said, look, we'd love to have Rohit, and only time will tell if I put him back in the auction and how much of budget we keep for someone like Rohit, because he will kind of cost a lot. And that makes me think, Akshay, if Rohit Sharma is let go of MI, and it looks likely because they've, of course, taken off captaincy from him, and it's only now time to move him on, I'm guessing, dare I say, what are the potential franchises for him in the IPL? Many people saying Hyderabad with his roots there, but they have Cummins and they have that, crazy sort of philosophy going on already with SRH. But do you see him as an LSG fit? Do you see him as a Delhi Capitals fit where he was rumored of 4 or 5 months ago?
I mean, Punjab and LSG would definitely love to have him because both of them, LSG, again, with the assumption that KL Rahul is let go of, which, to be honest, has only made my suspicion stronger. I mean, the meeting that happened last week has only made my suspicion stronger. Because, yeah, agar as an owner, आपको पता है कि KL Rahul मेरे साथ होने वाला and you want to keep him motivated, तो सीधा मैं तो बोल देता कि boss, KL Rahul is not going anywhere, he's going to be a part of our side. मैं ये नहीं बोलता कि I'm waiting for the retention rules. तुम अपने कैप्टन को रिटेन करने के लिए retention rules का तो वेट नहीं करोगे. तो
sorry, and that is the one thing that I think should sting KL the most. That I don't see. It's not about ego and anything else, but it's what is the thing that you are focusing on as your team owner, that are you not even sure that you will retain your captain? What is that vote of confidence? If you're calling them family, if you're telling them, okay, I can't have 11 guys not having good days consistently and all of that, dude, at least back your player up. And if KL continues to be at that spot, well, good luck to you. But I would honestly want to see him in a completely different team from there, especially after that conversation.
Yeah, invariably with IPL and some of the transfers, we saw it with Hardik Pandya and how it was a game of chess with Cameron Green coming RCB, Hardik then getting his desired move to MI. I would just think if KL is a good buy from LSG, then I think they'll be taking that budget and happily splurging on Rohit Sharma. But again, I'm thinking to myself whether Rohit will go there and work with, say, Zach now on board, not just JL. So who knows? Have you guys heard anything as well? You can let us know in the comments. But we feel that MI will be playing their cards close to their chest. Come December in the auction, which is a sport within a sport, MI will then go on to say, probably, look, we're going to keep Hardik, Bumrah, Sky as our main Indians, and then we'll see how we'll deal with Rohit, likes of Ishan, Kishan. There's so many to, of course, keep an eye on. Just finishing off with the IPL there, because, of course, we mentioned it in the lower third, the two bouncer rule to be removed. Now, that apparently was not liked by some of the franchisees, even though we were liking it in terms of fans and how much it made the game more interesting. I know the international rule is still one bouncer in T20 international cricket and T20. So Akshay, next, where are we on this? Will that be I don't know, taking away the sheen of the tournament even more if you remove a rule like that?
I mean, it's been a bit of a mixed bag, right? We all thought it will help restore parity and bowlers will be a lot more better equipped in terms of handling all these, aggressive batters and intent and whatnot. Wasn't to be the case, यार मतलब 200-250 तो फिर भी बन ही रहे थे. And बाकी I'm all for innovations and all, but थोड़ा हमें भी sensibly सोचना पड़ेगा कि international cricket में क्या standard है और यहाँ पे क्या. So having rules that are on par with international cricket or trying to sort of be trying to have the same level playing field that there is in international cricket is the right way to go that way. So it's all right. I'm fine both ways. So it's perfectly fine.
And how often have we sat here saying, oh, yeah, it's such a batter's game, this, and even with the whole impact player, it's even made it worse for bowlers. But this rule was maybe bringing it into parity, Nix. And sometimes you feel, okay, I understand the whole concussion side of it and all of that, but bouncers are weapons for bowlers. And if you're again bringing it back to one bouncer, the oomph is gone.
Yeah, I completely agree. Always been bowler FC and I will remain so because already too many things are loaded in the favor of the batters in terms of pitches and everything. So 250, 260 wonder, you need the bouncer even more to ensure that the batter is still guessing. So I think the question here is also that they are waiting to decide the SMAT rules because that is what is not out in, and this was trialed in SMAT and then they got into the IPL, which I feel if you've gotten something to the IPL, I know I'm not on the side of the impact player, but this is the rule that I was very happy with because at the I feel this is more effective, even more so in the endeavors because now you suddenly have an extra option. It's a completely new ball game where you have two bouncers, you can surprise them even the last ball. That if you get it the execution right, you can surprise the batter. So to me, I hope this stays because if impact player is to stay, this is far better rule. But I do get the point of view that international cricket doesn't have it. So how much of a value add is it? So unless you now you have your own in the ICC box as well. So if the rules are going to be changed and as it is fine to have parity, but I don't mind if they stick this to two bouncers in the IPL.
Yeah, same, man. I want to see some fun for bowlers as well over there. Just to, of course, outfox batters from time to time. Meanwhile, keep your comments coming through. Mohammad Irfan cheekingly saying Manoj Bhange will be our Hardik Pandya. We'll talk about Manoj Bhange in just literally 2 minutes as we're going to head to the MPL chat. Nice iWatch stuff from Sanjeev Goenka saying Abhishek Bathur. And lots more comments coming through. Best of cricket last week saying Kaushik. CPL, worst of cricket news last week. Yograj Singh's meltdown. I mean, he keeps having a meltdown from time to time. And Abhishek, I know you have random questions for us, which we'll take in the 12th man section. So props to all of y'all firing in your questions on this Monday evening, including this one as well from you, which is a good topic indeed. Right, MPL time, because it was, of course, brilliance from Mysuru Warriors with that win. Let me just show you that champions picture of theirs. Good names in this team. Christopher Gautam comes to mind. Suchit's there as well. Karan Nair, who played a beauty in the final, liked our Instagram story. In fact, shared it as well on his Instagram story. So over to you, Akshay. What have you liked on the field, off the field? It's a pretty memorable one for you, right? When you look back in 2024 MPL.
Yeah, for sure. And for what it's worth, of course, Mysuru Warriors was the team I used to always support. Of course, Avnish knows I did sort of, pursue my whatever little bit of professional cricketing career in Mysore. So I've in fact even trialed for them. So that's my claim to fame of for what it's worth, of course. Always had a soft corner for them. And the fact that I also got to work with the team, of course, this is also the first time we've partnered with the team, created content for them. Great experience for me. Got to meet the players. Got to be in the middle of the Chinnaswamy Stadium, and that's a memory that I'll take with me all my life, because it's nothing like it. So it was great, of course. And in terms of what caught my eye, Mysore Warriors were the team to be. They had a lot of proven names, a lot of all-rounders. There was Manoj Bhandge, Karun Nair, Jagdish Shah, Suchit, Krishnappa Gautam, and Prasidh Krishna had he been fit. So that was already 5 solid names to begin with. Prasidh Krishna, of course, wasn't to be available. Apart from that, there were also youngsters in Harshal Dharmani. There was Samit Dravid, who also showed what he's capable of. Karthik SU, Karthik C at the top. So lot of names, and fantastic to see them come good. They were part of the finals last season, and unfortunately fell this close to winning it, but fell short, of course, by 11 runs eventually. This time around, not to be the case. They were very clinical through and through in the finals. Even in the semis, for that matter, they defeated defending champions Hubli Tigers. But apart from apart from Mysore Warriors and those proven teams, in terms of names, up-and-coming names, because these leagues essentially are a breeding ground, are a feeder system for the IPL. You want to see names coming up. We also sort of like to be wannabe scouts, and arey bhai, ye to IPL khel sakta hai. And there were a few names, yeah. Manoj Bhandge, of course. Yesterday, that helicopter shot. Oh my goodness. Yorker ko chakka mara hai, bhai. Yorker. That was a pinpoint Yorker. He somehow managed to get under the ball, get elevation, hit it past the long on fence. I was there with my friend, and of course, special thanks to a friend of our podcast, Santosh Udpa. He did sort us out with the tickets. Thank you so much, Santosh. So me and my friend, we were at the stadium. That shot had us in complete awe. We were like, what on earth did we just see? How did he manage to get that elevation? So really hope that he gets a game or two in the IPL going forward. A few names to watch out for. Deepak Devadiga, mystery spinner, played for Mysore Warriors this time around. He was a part of RCB, by the way. Fun fact, as a net bowler, can turn the ball both ways. He's got a very very quick seam-up delivery that's bowled at about 110 clicks, so it can surprise batters. He also has the ability to move the ball, move the new ball, almost like Akil Hussain, Namad Wasim. He can get that drift in. So he's got all those variations, can bowl across phases. Then there's Advait Shetty and Samarth Nagraj. So the Mangaluru Dragons bowling lineup might not have performed well this time around, but lot of potential. Abhilash Shetty, Paras Gurbaksharia. There's, of course, the 2 names I took. Samarth Nagraj, who's been picked by KCA for the under-19, picked by BCCI for the under-19 series against Australia. Can click 140, Avnish. Can click 140, and he's 18. And he was consistently clocking 140. Unfortunately, his skipper did not know how to use him. डेथ बॉलिंग में मतलब क्या बोले बेचारा 18 साल का, उसको लेंथ सेट करना आता है. लेंथ बॉल डालते रहा करुण नायर को 90th ओवर में, 4 छक्के खा लिए, उसके बाद मैच खेला नहीं. But definitely one to watch out for. Advait Shetty, our very own Mitchell Stark, hands down the smoothest run-up I've seen from an Indian cricketer ever. Itna smooth bhagta hai, must action. He's got a deadly yorker. He's got the slow ones. He's got all those variations. He's only 21, importantly. So he can definitely be groomed into a proper future superstar. So lots to look forward to there. Abhilash Shetty has been a part of Mumbai Indians and Chennai Super Kings previously as a net bowler. Was moving the ball with ease. And मतलब अगर हम यश दयाल की बात करें, भाई साहब जो यश दयाल, जो अभिलाष शेट्टी कर रहा था वहां पे, moving the ball at ease. The only sort of issue could be the fact that he bowls mid to late 120s, early 130s. So that pace could be a bit of an issue. So he's a very one-dimensional bowler that way. But if he can develop his middle overs bowling or death overs bowling, then he can be more than handful. But yeah, all in all, fantastic Maharaja Trophy. Had great fun following it. Yeah, lots to look forward to going forward for sure.
Yeah, amazing. And it's like you said, the feeder system for the larger good, right? Because there's so many leagues happening right now. You're talking about your Andhra Premier League, your Pondicherry Premier League, but the Maharaja Premier League, of course, has been kind of at the top of the pops of the TNPL and so on and so forth. So onwards and upwards to all these leagues and all these players plying their trade, because I'm thinking, yes, in due course, I want RCB to include more local talent. And this tournament literally is that. So hopefully they get a couple to creep into the IPL, even if it's not RCB, I'd still be happy from a Karnataka perspective. There is a couple of comments coming through over with regards to the KPL. So, which teams are all these players going to go for? Akshay, the potential RCB net bowlers and batters. There's history there. I mean, Akshay can only guess, but technically, do you think all of these guys have made good cases 2 months before the IPL auction? So, again, who are we thinking here in terms of the Karnataka youngsters who could get a gig in?
LR Chetan should. LR Chetan. Manoj Bhandgi also, I'll include him because he's yet to play an IPL game. But LR Chetan, I'd be very surprised and also very disappointed if he doesn't get a look in this time around. Gazab consistency dikhaya. He's got all the shots required. He's very comfortable against pace. So yeah, a keeper batter who can open the innings. That's as good as it gets. A very deadly combination. So hopefully especially batter friendly surfaces like Mumbai, Bangalore would suit him as well. So LR Chetan is someone to look forward to. Hardik Raj, of course, another very handy all-rounder. He's done very well. He was one of the lone bright spots for Shivamogga Lions this time around. He's also been picked by BCCI for the Under-19 series against Australia. Left-hand batter, left-arm spinner. Again, very talented there. But I realistically think LR Chetan, Lavneet Sisodia, Manoj Bhandge. I also would add Samat Nagraj and Advait Shetty only because these are proven gaps. We've seen IPL teams look for that X factor, look for bowlers who can bowl in excess of 140. A left-arm pacer who can bowl 140 plus, who can also execute those Yorkers, who also has a slow ball. That's as rare as it gets. I've hardly seen such sort of packages come through to the IPL. So given that, you would expect these players to be picked earlier than someone else. Manvant Kumar, of course. It's a reflection of how good we think Manvant Kumar is. कि मैंने उसका नाम लिया भी नहीं in terms of proven, in terms of potential IPL buys. भाई इसको तो IPL में आना ही है. He is definitely going to be a future superstar, a future Karnataka superstar, if not India. All-rounder, left-hand bat, right-arm pace. Very good in both disciplines. So yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing Manvant Kumar as well in the IPL. Shabash.
We have done the ritual. Shabash. Well done.
Sorry, this article is available on the cricket.com website is what I was saying. So go check that out and more fun stuff written by our boys indeed. Let's move on from the MPL or the Maharaja Trophy. I don't know why I keep calling it the MPL, but Santosh Shuripa, like Akshay said, thank you for giving them tickets and thank you for this particular question. We'll take it in the 12th man segment for sure. But before we wrap up of the MPL, out of all the star names that Akshay mentioned there, I was really happy to know that we at cricket.com, we were the first ones in this player's career to get him on a screen.
Okay. Yes. Action.
ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ಲಿ ಫೇವ್ರೆಟ್ ಶಾಟ್ ಡಿಫೆನ್ಸ್ ತಪ್ಪ ಆನ್ಸರೇ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಸೊ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಹೇಳಿದ ಯಾವ್ದು ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ ಅದೇ ಸರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು
ಕೆಜಿ 4 kg, ಅರ್ಧ kg, 1 kg.
ಫೇವ್ರೆಟ್ ಮೂವಿ favorite song
ನನ್ಗೆ ಯಾವ ಅನ್ಕೊಳಕ್ಕೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕೇಳ
ನಾ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಹಾಡು ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ಇಷ್ಟ
ನಾನು ಅದೇ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡೆ ಇವಾಗ ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಯಾವ್ದು ಬಂದಿಲ್ವಾ
ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ಹಾಡು ಹೇಳ್ರಪ್ಪ
ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಹೇಳಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ
ಓಕೆ
ಇದೊಂದು ಜನ್ಮವೇ ಎಂತಹ ದುರ್ವಿಧಿ ಇದೆಂತಹ ದುರ್ವಿಧಿ
more closer I feel Karun will have a problem not me.
Hi guys, this is Jay Suchit. Sorry, I'll do it again. Hey guys, this is Suchit Jay and you're watching cricket.com.
Hey guys, this is Krishnappa Gautam here and you're watching cricket.com.
Well done to Akshay on that. In fact, I was kind of alluding to Sumit Dravid, who also done an absolute stellar job by getting wrong answers out of him. Go check that out. But that was one hell of a recap of the Maharaja Trophy. Right, time to move on then, because there's so many other things that is hitting our screens right now. In fact, what is to watch this week? We'll give you an indication of what can be, of course, seen. Pakistan Bangladesh continues tomorrow. Only time will tell if, of course, Bangladesh knock out those 143 runs. We'll talk about that in 2 minutes. There's, of course, Scotland, Australia, beg your pardon, which starts this week as well. And the final test of England, Sri Lanka on Friday, which will be good to see. Later, next Monday, pretty much, Afghanistan, New Zealand, the only test happening. And that is day one as well. Right. So we're pretty much done with all the leagues. Did Akshay want to talk about the UPT20 really quickly?
One remains, so I'll just finish that up as well. Had great fun watching that. Lot of names to look forward to. Aryan Jayal and Swastik Chakara. Of course, both of them have been in and around the IPL. Once again, we've been hearing these names. We've been hearing about them at the domestic circuit. Of course, Swastik lit up the UPT20 league with that fantastic 80 odd in the first game. Uske alawa bhi, he's consistently performed well for Meerut Mavericks. He is a part of who's Rinku Singh's side, of course. But like I mentioned last week, Rinku Singh के side में से अगर आपको किसी को देखना है तो वो है Zishan Ansari. Leg spinner, भाई गजब का control है. Just loved watching him. मैं तो highlights देखता हूँ सिर्फ उसी के bowling को देखने के लिए. But apart from that, Aryan Jayal is another name who should most likely get a bid this time around in the IPL auction. He's a part of which team is it? The Gorakhpur Lions or the Gorakhpur Kings? I don't know what the team name is, but he's a part of the Gorakhpur franchise, along with Dhruv Jurel, Yash Dayal, and Ankit Rajput. Now, because of Duleep Trophy, both Dhruv Jurel and Aryan Jayal have moved out, so that Gorakhpur side is heavily depleted. But again, Aryan Jayal, Swastik Chakara, Zishan Ansari, two names to watch out. And I have made a note of a couple more names. There's, of course, Sunil Kumar, left-arm pacer, has an action that's very uncannily similar to Shaheen Afridi. Tall, lanky fellow again. Maza aa gaya. And there's one more, Rahman. I'm forgetting Rahman, Ahmad, Mohammad Rahman. Kuch to aisa naam hai unka, but unka bhi please dekh lo. Another left-arm pacer. Yeah.
Who is a guy that you were absolutely in full praise of when you were watching the game in office?
I'm trying
to think. Left-hand batter.
That's Ekansh Dobal, West Delhi Lions. That's DPL. That was DPL. That's Ekansh Dobal. Yeah.
DPL.
Abdul Rahman, Gorakhpur. This is the name. So Abdul Rahman, Zishan Ansari, Naman Tiwari, of course, under 19 World Cup में भी अच्छा किया था. Clocks good pace, very very handy pacer, left-arm pacer once again. I have a very clear bias for left-arm pacers, so मैं खास करके उन्हीं के नाम ले रहा हूँ. Abdul Rahman, Naman Tiwari, both definitely someone to watch out for, along with Zishan Ansari. I'm expecting them to get a bid or two this time around.
Okay. Kaushik Arunagiri also says Samir Rizvi looks a class part in the tournament. In fact, it was with this league or the T10 league in the UP that he made his name for the CSK Scouts. This league itself, right? So continues where he's left off pretty much. Right. Hi, Vishal. Long time no see. Yes, long time no see to you as well. And get involved in the chat, Monday Night Live. We're going to have an absolute crazy debate in the next 5 minutes about Root-Sachin. But before that, it's only fair that we just start talking about Test match cricket. And we'll start with the one that we're absolutely loving across the border, because Pakistan, Bangladesh, the first test was hilarious. And we got the Pakistan guest last week to, of course, just lose his mind. Go check that out. Talking about Behram Qazi in the episode 42. But this is how it stands right now. At stumps on day 4, and Bangladesh need 143 to win with 10 wickets in hand. And can they do it? Will they do it? It'll be their first ever series win against Pakistan, home or away. And let me start with Nix here and what he's liked so far, because again, we've seen some of the pacers come to the fore. We've seen Babar being Babar. What is it now? 16 knocks that he's not got a 50. What is something which is made you absolutely scream at the TV? On the contrary, made you clap at the TV?
The resolve that Bangladesh have shown. This scorecard doesn't tell you they were 6 for 26. 6 for 26 in reply to that first innings from Pakistan. And you look at the wickets, you look at Khurram Sheza catching the ball into the stumps, and you feel, bhai, ye to done hai. If I'm not wrong, I heard Amir Sohail on TV, and I'm hoping that he said for Bangladesh only that they will have to level up if they want to keep playing Test cricket. And dude, how does it sound now when you see that Bangladesh only need 140 or more with 10 wickets intact? And I think there is a lot of rain predicted tomorrow, so it might end up at a damn squid. But even then, I think this could be one of the most memorable tests that Bangladesh could have ever played. Because to just even be in this position from 26 for 6, and then who plays a great 100? Liton Das. The guy who's always debated about his potential. But you look at the way, I think Mehdi Hassan gave him the start, that a nice drive, a good square cut, and you feel, wow, you are at home. So I think all the makings of a blockbuster. See, this is as close to 2001 as Bangladesh could have got. You are the one is 270 ahead. You are 26 for 6. Negative hopes, bro. How are you even thinking that you will get into position of winning this? From there to end up with a lead, with a trial of just 12 runs. Trail, okay, great. Just managed to make it a good snot. And then Hassan Mahmood comes in. And if you haven't checked out, do check out Rana's spell and the wickets that he took. Just look at Baba's wicket. Dude, Baba was just caught like this. Well, I don't remember the last time I saw Baba getting out, beaten on pace completely. So, very, 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 very happy for Bangladesh. Even more so after the off-the-field things that are happening for them. But some excellent rearguard action from Litton and Mehdi to start it. And then for Hassan and, Hassan Mahmood and Nahid Rana to combine, because first ever time Bangladesh pacers have taken all the wickets. And dude, Shakib Hassan bowled his first over in the 28th over, if I'm not wrong. You cannot recollect things like these. You think of Bangladesh Test cricket, you think Shakib, right? They haven't done anything. So I'm genuinely hoping that we get at least 40 to 45 overs tomorrow. If anybody, Bangladesh deserves to win this series 2-0. They've been very, very clinical, and the drawing board is going to look very, very scattered for Pakistan tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned all the talking points there, and understandably so, why it's been such a ebbed and flowed test match. 26 for 6. No other test would see such a comeback to this. Litton Das played one of the finest knocks of his life. But more importantly, I think Mehdi Hassan's making a case of why he's probably the best number 8 in test cricket right now. I'm not joking. In terms of what he's doing with the ball in hand and the bat in hand, his numbers are great, Mix.
We talked about him, especially just a few, just the last terminal or the previous one with Anirudh, where we spoke about how Mehdi is the perfect guy that you want in subcontinental conditions. It's just because the result. Dude, he opened against India and got a ton. It's not a mean feat. Not everybody is able to do it. Yes, different format, but the guy's always had that spark. And you can see that from, even if you just go and see the highlights, the shots that he plays, those are not random slugs. Proper cricketing shots, the guy knows his game. And that he also picked up a 5-for just adds to the great test that he's had so far. So still work to be done tomorrow. And the good thing is they haven't lost a wicket with the new ball, because the entire series, if you speak, has been about the first session and the cluster of wickets that have fallen in the first new ball. So hopefully no such thing tomorrow. And we see a very good Bangladesh win.
Yeah, I mean, also Shan Masood has not been the captain that I actually envisaged him to be. I mean, very going through the motions. He dropped a catch also, which kind of compounded his misery further. And even with the bat in hand, no one's really stepped up and said, listen, I'll take you guys through. We saw Rizwan doing that in the first test. I know Salman was shepherding the tail, but pretty much couldn't get Pakistan to a desired lead in that second innings. So Pakistan, again, it'll be interesting to get a couple of more guests on going forward to see where they are. But Bangladesh, imagine they beat Pakistan and then they come to India and they do us as well 2-0. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Babar Azam, this shall pass too. In fact, there's a couple of great sort of stats going about. And this is one of them, lads. Can you imagine this? For the first time ever, Bangladesh pacers have taken all 10 wickets in an innings. Now, only cricket.com will provide stats like this. It's available on our Twitter account. You, of course, can go check out us on IG as well for all the stuff that you guys love to do with stats. We were talking about Nahid Rana. Go check out the highlights. I mean, I know India are not broadcasting it, but essentially him and Hassan Mahmood, both to look forward to. We talk about some of the great bowlers of the past in Mashrafi Mortaza and then recently Taskin Ahmad. But those two, in terms of Bangladesh pacers, just keep an eye out on them. So look, right now we can talk about the England-Sri Lanka game, because that has also been kind of captivating, even though Atkinson is doing absolute Botham-esque things here. Even Ian Botham wouldn't have probably pulled it off in his hay. Where do we start with that test, Nikhil? Because Sri Lanka were never in it. It was only the history suggesting that they will be in it, not losing in Lords for 33 years and all of that. But again, it was just a similar candidates. Atkinson with the ball, Root with the bat. And Atkinson, in fact, with the bat this time as well. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it was I wouldn't know how much you would blame De Silva for the toss, because he said he wanted to bowl. He had them 6 down for 260. You feel, dude, keep them under 350. That's great. Lords gets better to bat day 2, day 3. But Gus Atkinson, I think this is one of the most. This kind of feeling that, dude, how are you allowing Gus Atkinson to come in and score a century? It's sort of 30, 40 odd. So I think Sri Lanka lost it in first innings only. And really disappointing to see how you see the entire tour. It's been like, let's try and be behind our batters, which is good that De Silva wanted them to not feel the pressure of the new ball and stuff. But dude, those are experienced guys. And some of those bizarre calls have been made by Sri Lanka, that one inning Nishan Madushka keeps wickets, the other innings Chandimal keeps wickets. Dude, this is not a T20 or ODI ke tu 25 over usko de, 25 over usko de. Because the guy is going to open. So, and it is very, very bizarre to have that thing done, because even when the clouds, I'm sure that people would have read that article, that when the clouds were not there, they sent the bowler to bat. Okay, bhai, to batter hai kyun team mein? Tumko batter, tough condition, maybe if you'll not send the batters to bat out for you, then I don't know when you will do that. Because again, in this test also, Commitment is scored sometimes. So your lower order is De Silva against scored runs. So your lower order continues to pull you about troubled waters, but the top order is just sinking the ship far too down for them to stand up. So lots of questions to answer. I think Dimuth possibly the biggest letdown for Sri Lanka. I know Jaswira said that Dimuth could go on and do great things for us on this tour, but he just hasn't found his hands, to put it in Steve's words. So still a test to go, but that test should see more spin. So looking forward to the eventual Pravat fiver. But maybe even you could take a fiver next one, and I'm not joking here.
Yeah, I know. Shoaib Bashir has also been something that I've been liking. In fact, he's been doing that holding role. But again, that Pakistan series later on in the year will be a bigger test. Only time will tell whether they bring back Rian Ahmed, the likes of, who was it that they got in for the India series? Tom Hartley, whether he comes back as well to support that. But right now, we want to, of course, pay our appreciations to Joe Root, because he's also been phenomenal in this test. In fact, 33 and 34 test runs respectively right now. And I just wanted Nick's to just tell me about how well Root has been batting since 2021, yeah? Because I was looking some of the stats. 4,500 runs in the last 3 years. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen that graphic, isn't it, of the Fab Four and the number of tons that Joe Root had at the start of the COVID lockdown. And then you see how he's come through. It's always been refreshing. I think Joe Root is one of the most, at this point in time, one of the most pleasing batters that you can see in terms of how he goes about his job. Yes, when he'll get into the tangle, you'll feel, oh, there is this dipper problem or that problem. But to look at the way he's batting now, he's batting in the way you've seen him of the old. You look up and Joe Root's already on 30. He's already on 40. So it's very, very happy for me, because I personally always enjoyed watching Joe Root bat. Love him for even more for the tribute that he paid to his mentor. We talked about him approaching Graham Thorpe about how to go about his batting and getting that conversion better, because there was a time when he was scoring 50s and he would feel, dude, he's not getting tons, and that was considered a failure. So yes, we all want him to score runs in Australia, but whatever he's doing at this point of time, you can't ask of anything more. In complete control and at the top of his powers, Joe Root, take a bow. Thank you so much.
Take a bow, man, because we put out this video 2 years ago. It was, I think, right after the England series, and he was just dabbing himself to greatness over there. So absolutely brilliant to see how Joe Root is accumulating his runs. And that's the question that we're also asking tonight in terms of, will Joe Root overtake Sachin's run tally in test? It makes for an interesting debate in the next 5 minutes or so. And that is a Monday Night Live question. So please jump in and tell us what you think, because Anirudh Suresh, my colleague, put out a particular video of it and just calculating that. And that was prior to the second test. And the absolute comments going off saying, you can't talk about God like that. Who are you? And questioning so on and so forth, because sentiment comes into it. And I just want to show you how Sachin and Root fares, guys, in terms of 265 innings played, because that's where Root is right now. When Sachin was also at this stage of his career, he had more than Root, in fact. In fact, he has everything better than Root apart from 50s and a high score. But who's to say that Root can't go on to emulate what the master has done? Let's try getting on another opinion here from a certain man covering the India-England series. It's surprise, surprise, in Mark Butcher joining us. Butch, good to see you. Old friend of the channel, of course, and we're weighing in heavily on this Joe Root, Sachin Tendulkar debate, which I don't want to put you under of any duress, but how good has Joe Root been? He's just been so good.
Yeah, he's the last since the sort of back end of his captaincy, he's just been in the purple patch. He always had a little bit of it was a question mark over him in terms of his conversion rate, 50s into hundreds. But in the last 18 months, he's been absolutely extraordinary. And the hunger and the skill. I mean, he's sort of gone through that whole trying to keep up with the Bazballers thing, and then has now gone back to sort of just scoring the runs the way he does. And he's a fabulous player. And there doesn't seem to be any sign that he's sort of diminishing the hunger to kind of go on and score more and more and more. So who knows? Those records are in sight, right?
Yeah, I mean, it just makes me think, because I was asking one of the guys in the panel this, how good has he been since 2021? Because that's a truckload of runs, 4,500 runs. You talk about some of the greats in the game. They haven't kind of got that in any kind of span of time. What has he been doing differently? Because I understand that he's so busy, he's industrious as a player. You guys lose adjectives to describe him now and then in broadcast. But according to you, Butch, what is the main difference between Root and the other in terms of the Fab Four?
He just has. I don't think there is a great deal of difference. I think they've all had their purple patches, and Joe's has just kind of come at a time where the others are a lot more quiet. You think back maybe 2-3 years ago, it was Kane Williamson who every time he played got 100. Steve Smith had that period, sort of in the back end of the teens or the 20 teens, where he just couldn't stop scoring any runs. They've all had their points of time. Kohli himself, they haven't played a massive amount of Test cricket of late. And the one thing I will say about Kohli and his run scoring has been that it's been unbelievably difficult for Indian batters to score runs at home. Whereas, of course, Joe Root doesn't have any problem scoring hundreds in England. So that has been an issue perhaps for somebody like Kohli. But Joe's just kind of had this. He's always been a heavy run scorer, right? He's always been a consistent run scorer. But I think the difference has been now that all of a sudden, every time he gets in, you think he's going to make 100. Whereas in the past, he found ways of, getting out between 50 and 100. Whilst things were looking so easy, you couldn't understand why or how he'd ever get himself out. But now he gets in, and it just doesn't look like you're going to get him out. Brilliant player of spin, fantastic technician. Against bowling of all types, and he's now got that sort of that thing that Alistair Cook had, whereby by mentally he's just able to kind of just grind on and on and on and keep scoring, and he's loving doing it.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing. A final one from me then, because you talk about the inevitable question and the time that he has left in his career. He's of course signed a new 3-year contract with the VCB, and he's not playing white ball cricket. So on an average, England play about 15 to 16 tests every year. And by the math, I think he needs about 56 tests to overtake the great man. Can he do it? Be honest with us.
Yeah, of course he can. I mean, look, one of the things that you always factor into these conversations about any professional sportsman is the unknown. Think back to somebody like Tiger Woods, and was he going to take over Jack Nicklaus's record of majors? And everybody said, well, of course he's going to. And then injury happens, other things in life happen, and suddenly, it looks as though he's never going to do it. So you can never say with any great certainty that over the course of the next 3.5 to 4 years that Joe Root will definitely do it. But if he manages to stay fit, not have any sort of long-term injury, and if the mind is still, happy and willing to sort of go out there and to continue to enjoy the challenges of Test match cricket, then of course he will. but there's a lot of buts there.
Yeah, I was just going to pay heed to that, the ifs and buts and all of that. But Butch, thank you so much for, of course, jumping off a plane from Spain and then joining us in this absolute reminisce with you in terms of cricket.com. We've been involved before. Quite predictions of the England-Australia series, because it's been perfect for England so far, dismantling the West Indies and the Sri Lanka. But now the old enemy is in town soon.
Yeah, I mean, short tour for the Australians. A lot of their players come over and play here in the summertime, so it'll be competitive. But I just think, the back end of an English summer and the very beginning of an Australian one, and us being at home, I think that gives us a bit of an advantage. The one thing, I suppose, is that you've now got a new captain-coach dynamic with Jos Buttler. Jos Buttler's under a lot of pressure. I don't think that, despite winning that World Cup in Australia, what year are we talking now? That they just seem to have melded into one. And as you said, I just got off a plane. The first World Cup after Owen Morgan stepped down, England won. But since then, their numbers in all types of white ball series, whether they've been World Cups or whether they've just been bilaterals at home or away, have not been particularly good. And Mott going was an interesting one because for me, that makes it look as though it was Mott's fault. Now, Buttler now has to prove that he is the man to lead that white ball team, and therefore there is a little bit of pressure under him. And also, what do England have left in the tank after a very long summer of cricket? So it'll be good stuff. Hopefully there'll be big crowds, and with the most important thing is we get some proper England-Australia niggle, and if that happens, then we'll all be happy.
Yeah, I mean, can't a Britman not to, of course, have a little dagger throw to the Aussies, but only time will tell. The road to the Champions Trophy starts now for England as well. We always finish off by just throwing one question from the comments to our guests, and we'll let you go. And Shaunak's got a belter here. Question to you: what is your take on Virat Kohli versus Root? Because Kohli has some sort of series like a 692, where Root hasn't had those numbers in Australia yet, but Root has, of course, the number of tons to back it up. So where do you stand on this?
Yeah, well, I mean, Cody's record in Australia is fantastic, and Joe is still sort of searching for sort of a big career-defining series down under. Look, the thing is that they're both fabulous players, and to compare them, the only way you compare them, I suppose, is overall. Now, Joe probably has the better of Virat in terms of the long-form game, and Virat is probably the GOAT as far as the 50-over game is concerned. And on that score, I don't think there's any sort of argument. I just think, listen, Virat Kohli at the end of it all, his numbers in Test match cricket will have suffered for some of the surfaces that India have played on in home Test match series over the last, well, probably since England beat India in Chennai back in 2021, because from that moment onwards, flat pitches in India have disappeared. There weren't any. And I think just over the course of the last England-India series, where Ollie Pope played that incredible innings of 192, and from that moment onwards, it went the other way. The pitches started to get flatter again, and India asserted their dominance by being a brilliant all-round batting team, brilliant fast bowling side with awesome spinners as well. And so there's no need then to have pitches where the games might be over in 2 days. If you're the better side, you win. And if they keep playing on decks like that, then Virat's Test numbers will go through the roof as well.
Okay, super. Butch, thank you so much for your time. I know we have plenty of other questions, but I won't take more of your time. And it's been an absolute delight to chat with you again. Good luck with everything else the rest of this summer, including this talent.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Well done. Right, it was only fair that we just weigh him in terms of that whole Root versus Sachin debate, guys. But my question to both of you boys next right now is just a quick one. If Root does overtake Sachin, Nikhil, does he automatically become the best Test batter we've ever seen?
Yeah, that is debatable. And that is something that will always be debatable, because for you, see, Sachin is far, far different for us Indians to what Joe Root is for England. A lot of people picked up the bat because of Sachin, and that has happened over, 2-3 decades now. So I don't know in terms of impact whether Root has that impact on the general cricketing culture that England have. So I think it wouldn't be fair to compare Sachin to Root. Even if it goes past his tally, great, well done to him. But I don't think in terms of impact, Joe Root he can have it on English cricket. But I'm not too sure on world cricket. But that's me, and everybody can have different opinion on that.
Akshay, where do you stand in it? Because you know where I stand in it, right? I think generally Smith is better than Tendulkar. I think sometimes, Smith is better than most of the batters right now. But I think Dravid's better than Smith. So that's, again, subjective. I know people will heckle me out. But genuinely, if Root does end his career in tests with 18K, right? Do you just automatically put him as a great, even though he's not done it in Australia and all of that rubbish?
See, scoring 18,000 runs is definitely good enough to be, called a great. So he will be one amongst many that way. He'll definitely be one of the greats. But to sort of call him the GOAT and to compare him with Sachin Tendulkar. So just to add another layer of nuance there. So Nikhil Bhai spoke about how Sachin was sort of the only hope for the longest time when it came to Indian cricket. And he played in a side that had little to no support to offer to him. That's not necessarily the case with Joe Root. Joe Root is playing or is a part of a lineup that has adequate batting potential outside.
But those valids are not arguable, right? I mean, those arguments are not valid. Beg your pardon. I don't know why it's the other way around. I'm just saying, ultimately, when you look at any test batter, you're not going to judge him with his team around him. Sure, we do that with Lara as well, and we could do that with Sachin as well. But in 30 years from now, people will still be like, oh, look at Root's numbers, I better Sachin. So do they go down that way if you remove sentiment away from it?
I cannot say 30 years down the line, how will his career be looked at, right? Like, we don't know what the discourse would be then. Right now, as things stand, the way I would look at it is, Root is yet to perform, with a certain degree of proficiency in Australia and India. I know there is the double century to back him up, but outside the double century, there's very little that he's done in India. So I would still say, agar wo India or Australia mein going forward perform karte hain, then that would most likely cement his position as a GOAT of the game. Right now, he's definitely fantastic. He is probably the most prolific batter in the current generation. No two questions about it. But to sort of be classified as a GOAT, he's got to do it because performing across conditions has to be a barometer, at least for me. I'm not saying baki sabke liye bhi aisa hona chahiye. For me personally, for Root to sort of, be right there, ki boss, numero uno, number one, this is it, then he has to be able to do that because that's what separates good from the best or best from the good, however you look at it. Rahul Dravid, Sachin Tendulkar, both the names you took have done that.
Yeah, and
just on one thing. Just one thing though, even for Sachin, if you look at, you had to wait till 2008 for him to get a couple of 90s for you to feel good about him down under. So it tells you how much scrutiny that the guy's done so much and yet the guy has to keep proving. So I think the bar is set too high for the GOAT, but Joe Root is definitely on the way. Now, whether he finishes with him, besides him, or just ahead of him, it's time will tell.
Yeah, because many people will play devil's advocate with Sachin's numbers, right? Even though he's amassed 200 tests as a cricketer, just 72 wins. And then you're thinking about all the 51 test hundreds that he got. Again, you can really make the most out of that, but you can also look at it through the lens that generally that era that Sachin was in, not the best of Indian eras. So things like that will always factor in this debate. You guys can let us know in the comments, even when the show ends. And it was a good, pleasant surprise from Mark Butch. I swear to God, I had no idea he's going to pop up. He's
okay. Like, bhai, bol to
you know what he's saying? So he was basically like, I can't do next week, lad, or the week after, or after that. So can we just do it right now? And I was like, okay, sure, cool. Added him in, and he's popped in, but like a boss. Speaking of like a boss, Akshay is going to boss you all with the quiz next, because that is something to watch out for. But before we finish the best of the rest, we can't, of course, not address the elephant in the room. Jai Shah, lads. What entails for the cricket world? Do you think he'll do exactly what he's done with the BCCI with the ICC? And he's done some great things for the BCCI, by the way. The WPL, the equal pay system, so on and so forth, the broadcast aspect of it as well. So is it a good thing that Jai Shah is ICC president now? And what does it mean? Nikhil, you first and then Akshay.
Yeah, for a first, it's good that we finally know who is the ICC president. I don't think too many people knew who was the last one. So that is a welcome change. To think if he'll do what he did for BCCI, I think there are a lot more uncontrollables in play now. You could do what you wanted to do with the BCCI because everything was under you in terms of you are the decision maker there. So it is easier for you to do that. I'm not quite sure if that's the case with the ICC president. as per the mandate or the rules, you've hardly heard from the ICC president. So it's the board that has the power. Now, whether an individual will overpower that or how does that dynamic work out? Because now I think the immediate thing that I'm looking forward to is what happens to the Champions Trophy. And how does Jai Shah now, as the ICC chair, now look at it? Because there are two different things. To say that the Indian government will not allow fair as a BCCI head, but as the ICC chair, your job will be to try and pursue the BCCI that let's try and find a middle ground, see what we can do. So I don't know how that entire bit will work out. So that I think is possibly the first challenge. And the next one that I possibly think of at this point of time is a test match fund that they have, the initiation that has been done that, okay, let's look after test cricket and have a separate fund for this format of the game. How do you work around that? Does he have a say with every board that, there is a lot about this country versus club and thing. And when he was the BCCI BCCI secretary, he said that you have to play domestic cricket. Can you do that as ICC head and say that, no, don't prefer franchise, play for your country first? So I think a lot of interesting talking points there. And this will definitely be an exciting one, no matter what it means about the cooling off period and then him going off a year earlier so that when he returns, he has more time as the BCCI head. So all of that is separate. For the 3 years that he will be, I think there is a lot on his plate already.
Yeah, the timing of this particular election winning sort of news from Jai Shah, who was unopposed, by the way, comes, of course, 5-6 months before the Champions Trophy. So that's his main agenda first. And then how he kind of has a blueprint, because we've seen Dalmia, we've seen Srinivasan kind of go down this path. Only time will tell if Jai Shah does get better PR out of it. I think that's the holy grail for him, to get some positive PR with all the lockdown kids kind of going his way. Akshay, just 2 pence on that in the interest of your time, and then your quiz, my friend.
I mean, good or bad ka to pata nahi, but it almost seemed inevitable that he would become the ICC president sooner or later. So that's here. I just hope in terms of women's cricket, because like Avnish mentioned, WPL was something that happened under his leadership. So I hope that also sort of extends to international cricket in terms of how women's cricket is looked at. One thing I'll be interested to see is his his outlook towards all these overseas leagues that have been mushrooming so aggressively across the globe. Is he going to sort of take it in his stride? Is he going to come up with a way where these overseas leagues or international leagues will coexist with international cricket? Will we start seeing, the division of the cricketing calendar, जहाँ पे एक सीजन ऐसा होगा जहाँ पे सारे लीग्स होंगे और एक सीजन ऐसा होगा जहाँ पे इंटरनेशनल क्रिकेट खेला जाएगा. So that's something I'm looking forward to, definitely, under Jai Shah's leadership, how he sort of navigates this path. Because it would be fair to say that the cricketing landscape is right now in a position where it's never been before. It's sort of entering unknown territory with so many games happening left, right, and center across both genders. So it won't be easy for him going forward, and he won't have the kind of control he's been used to seeing when it comes to BCCI, जहाँ पे everything was under him. Obviously, now that won't be the case. He'll have to work with so many different stakeholders. There's so many moving parts. So will he sort of grow accustomed to it? So I guess it's a season of coalition everywhere.
Money, 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 money. And that'll do, of course, him a world of good. Jai Shah next post will be Universal Cricket Chairman saying Greg K. And Parth, you've been firing this comment throughout your whole MNL experience. We'll take it right now. Rohit is 40 out of 48 centuries in a winning cause, and around 70% of his 19K interest have been in a winning cause. Easily one of the biggest match winners. We produce good that you've shared that particular information. And Santosh jokingly saying that Jai Shah could abolish the 100 format. Right, we're nearly into 1.5 hours at the MNL. It's kind of an elongated show because of a surprise cameo from Mark Butcher, even though he didn't ever play a good cameo for England. If you know, you know, or Surrey. Let's move on to Akshay's particular quiz then. How's that? Right, so last week, Akshay, what was it? Who was it? And I came close in getting it right nearly, but then you, of course, told me a different answer.
Yep, there you go. List of 12 names, of course, 12 being the operative word of that statement. So from Martha Nurse to Vijay Merchant to Warren Beardsley there. The correct answer to, of course, last week's Funda was these are the oldest centurions, for their countries, for their respective countries, if I have to put it that way. So Mushfiqur Rahim was the latest entrant when he scored a century for Bangladesh against Pakistan in the first test. So we thought let's sort of try and see if that can be integrated. And that was the whole idea behind it. So that was the funda last time around. And a few of you did get the right answer. Rajat, of course, is the lucky winner this time around. So congratulations on getting it right. Of course, do get in touch with us on Twitter and our social media team will do the needful. In terms of this week's Howzzat though, yeah, there we go. Another eclectic group of names. I've decided कि was going मतलब थोड़ा जितना भी हो सकता है ऐसे अलग अलग नाम डालते हैं और देखते हैं कनेक्ट क्या है इन सब के बीच में. अमनदीप खरे, असीम काजी, धर्मेंद्र सिंह जडेजा, करण शर्मा, करुण नायर, केएस भारत, मुकेश कुमार / सुदीप गरामी, नमन धीर, आर अश्विन, सारांश जैन, Shubham Garwal and Suryakant Pradhan. Another very, very, very interesting group of names that all I want you guys is to do is tell me what is the connect between this group of 12 names. Technically it's 13, but of course Mukesh Kumar / Sudeep Garami. So yeah, another group of 12 names like last time around. All I want is very simple. Connect the following. Funda kya hai boss? In sabke beech mein common kya hai? Bas yahi jana. And like always, please wait for the live stream to end before you key in your answers. I already see an answer there. Greg, please आप wait कर लो, कृपया करके wait करें और live stream के बाद main comment section में जाके अपने answers डालें. Please key in your answers in the main comment section at the end of the live stream in order to be eligible to win yourself a 500 rupee Amazon voucher from us.
Brilliant stuff there. I mean, essentially, I was just trying to make some sort of sense of that question with Ravichandran Ashwin's name there, but then the Dharminder Singh Jadeja, I'm just like way off, lost it completely. But what we haven't lost is, of course, our vigor to take your question. Plenty of questions coming through as usual that we've missed, and we're going to showcase right now. There was a couple from, of course, who was it? Abhishek from Facebook, who was pretty chill with his questions. He'd asked us two. One is, where is it? KL is captain, fellas. She looks doubtful, question mark. You never know. Essentially, Rajiv Goenka might, Sanjeev Goenka might really want him. I don't know who Rajiv Goenka is. Sanjeev Goenka might really still want KL, but it depends on the player here, I feel. I think KL wants to move out of LSG more than anything else. I don't know how Akshay sees it. Akshay, do you think RCB are pressing the button on KL, or do you think that's fine? It's an inevitable move which will happen. Whether it happens now or later, no one cares.
Knowing RCB fiber in their shoes, I would have definitely tried to sort of persuade KL to either enroll himself in the auction or by way of a trade, assuming a trade window opens up. So I would definitely want him. I've always maintained that stance. I know I've also been one of those critics. I've been a part of the group that has rightfully criticized him for his low strike rates and all of that. But with KL, you get a package. There's the captaincy deal, opener, keeper. On top of that, he is a local Hudga. So RCB is big on sort of, the branding side of things. So they would love to have someone like a KL. So I can see why RCB would want him there. And also with LSG, again, like we discussed earlier, it's fairly clear कि boss, अगर तुम्हें retain करना होता तो तुम retain करने वाले से तुम wait नहीं कर रहे होते कि 4 ऑप्शन होंगे कि 5 ऑप्शन होंगे उससे तुम अपने captaincy choice को थोड़ी ना बदल दोगे. So that's definitely not going to be the case. And यार KL मेरे को after all that's happened, all that's sort of gone under during the IPL, भाई KL तुम भी छोड़ ही दो यार. Clearly it's not worked out. So maybe it's sort of I don't know how to put it. Yeah, it's high time he just moves on from there.
Yeah, it's an open secret, maybe. I'll tell you what else is an open secret. This question, which comes in next from Santosh Surpass, saying, what's the idea behind having only one match at the Chinnaswamy? Did they want to run trial for the Team A and B at the NCA? Look, I mean, essentially, I spoke about the venues at the top of the show. Anantapur is similar to those Australian decks. They have 13 strips there. They have 7 other in the B ground. I think the first game, they just wanted to kind of, I don't know, add a little oomph to it because Chinnaswamy, they could have all the stars there who could be seen in specific. There was one more from Abhishek, which I'll give to Nick, and we'll wrap up proceedings here. If fit, Nitish Kumar Reddy, can he be a wildcard pick for the Australia tour, or is it too early? Asks Mr. Bhatt.
I feel too early. Of course, I would want him to be part of the India A side and see what he does there, and then probably take a call. So keep him in the mix, have him playing, but just be very sure of the role, because many times with all-rounders who don't quite always have one of those departments working, it gets difficult, especially for young ones. So yes, Washington Sundar came good when he was thrown in early. Natarajan came good when he was thrown in early. May not necessarily be the thumb rule for you. So give him time and see if he does well in the India tour, and then you can pick him up.
Yeah, Nitish Kumar Reddy is definitely a name to watch out for in the Indian future. Abneesh United humbled at Old Trafford. How are you feeling? Not good, mate. I'm just looking forward to... The time will come. The time will come. I'm not going to say anything more. There will be smiles upon my face in this season for sure. Another one coming my way. Is it only me who thinks Abnish's jersey looks similar to the Australian baggy green kid at home during the BBCs? In fact, got this in Thailand. It's a Thailand football kid. I don't know if you guys know it. And finally, I think once come...
Just to add on this, sorry, the Aussie baggy green kit is the first ever entire kit that I ever got as a gift in 2008. So it was special because you beat them, and then you have that kit with Commonwealth Bank and the cap and everything. Lovely.
Yeah, that was at this kind of green and this kind of gold. Yeah. So I get where Santosh Surpass is coming from. Last one, and we'll wrap it up. Akshay, coming to you. I think it's specific. How's that one?
Yeah. So just to address it, he goes on to say, it's your contest to decide the rules, but it's unfair to have the answers in the comments and then deciding the lucky winner. We understand where you're coming from, Ajinkya. The idea with sort of deciding to go ahead with the lucky winner this time around was to ensure that, more people win the contest, because last time around we had the same people winning. You guys, I know, all of us know you guys are cricket geeks. You guys know the answer, so invariably you will win. So the idea was just that, but we do get where you're coming from. We will try that going forward. It's just that operationally it becomes that much more trickier for us. Ki boss, sabki DMs fir padho, and then in case we miss someone's and all of that, and then there'll also again be the question of kisne jaldi kya, kisne nahi kya. So you guys would feel that it's not transparent enough. But we will definitely take this feedback. We'll try and work on this and come up with something that you guys are also happy with. So thanks for that.
From a particular query put in you by there, but look, essentially we've gone way too long on this podcast, but there's some fantastic content coming out for you guys later this week. We've shot with an ex-CSK pro for the next unwind. We also have a former RCB pro who we're going to shoot the unwind for in the future. That cannot be better. And of course, all the other things which will kick off this week. That's all we have time for. My name's Abneesh Hegde in the Thailand jersey. Nikhil Popat being clever as always, and Akshay absolutely loving life after one hell of a Maharaja Trophy final. That's all we have in this week. If you're listening on Spotify, like this. If you're watching on YouTube right now, before we just quickly go off, like this video. It helps with the algorithm. We always get about 1,000 loyal followers, and we want to build it onwards and upwards. And good news, we've hit 93.5K on YouTube as well. So if you haven't subscribed, you're new to the channel, please do so right now. I'll take your leave because I am absolutely starving for some Korean fried chicken, as I can see it. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.